Hello, hello, everybody. I am yet again Price McKinney. Simply put it, as always, I want to thank you for tuning in and listening. I'm laughing because my daggum son is retarded. He's not like his father. Right when I started shooting my video, he sends me a text and I got distracted. So that wasn't my fault. That was him. So anyway, thank all of you, of course, as always, for listening, for your encouragement, for your questions, for your for your comments. I need your feedback. I honestly do. I need your feedback. So again, we're this is not this. I don't want to say this is a title, but it is somewhat of a theme. And we're laying somewhat of a foundation to the basics of relationships, and ultimately so that you can be a success in yours. So the last couple of videos, the first one I did was on communication. The last one I did was can we work together? This one is it's really simple. I mean, like, extremely simple, but it's just as much overlooked. Want to hear it? Here it go. Do you like the person? I know. What do you mean? Do I like him? Well, let's back the bus up. Let's put this in reverse. Do you like the person? Take away the physical attraction. Take away their bodily dimensions, physical appearance, whatever you want to call it. The character, the attitude, how they talk to you, who they are as a person. Do you like them? Is it enough for you to decide this is somebody I want to spend a lot of time with? This is somebody I want to consistently be around. I saw a video years ago, and I can't get it out of my head. That's part of why I keep laughing. There was this couple. They were older couple, like mid 60s towards 70s. I've never seen anything like it to this day. And the wife didn't have no grill. And they were just at it, just back and forth at it. So all they would say to each other, she would just, "Oh, I hate you," and he's over there on the side of her. Well, I hate you too, and they started talking about each other's breaths. They started talking about each other's body parts, and it was ridiculous. It was awful. It was awful. But they got to the point. What they were saying, and the way they were saying it was funny, but why they were saying it was not, because what had happened to them over the years, and it was just one video, but you could see it. It went from not liking the person to hating them, to being bitter and resentful toward that person just for being with them, because you stayed. And now you can't stand to even be in their presence. That is an awful way to live. So you've got to back up and ask yourself, and even if you do like the person, ask yourself why. Because here's I'm going to deal with this, but I have to. We've gotten now to the point where in relationships, everything is what do you bring to the table? Everything is what materials do you have? I've even heard some people, let me check what is your credit score? Do you have a mortgage? Are you renting? That makes a difference. Now we're into a day where, for example, Kevin Samuels, love that guy. I think a lot of people misunderstood him because of his delivery and how he said what he said, but people are starting to finally get him now that he's gone. And he kind of introduced us to the high profile type man, which is great, which is fine. The problem with that becomes even with the high profile man, that status, which is based on your income, based on what you have, based on your accomplishments, and all of that is great. Do not get it twisted. I'm not down in that by any means. But here's what happens as a result of that, in particular for the female. She becomes a piece of property. She's an item and not a person. And then she becomes treated as such because he lords over her, or he becomes her boss, because especially if she's not working. The image of that I have in my head is, for those of you who've seen The Diary of a Bad Black Woman, you had a high profile attorney. The wife didn't work, whatever. And so he dogged her, was cheating on her, this, that, and other, because, and one of the, and this doesn't apply to everybody in every situation. Every situation is different, but in general, what typically winds up happening is they don't need you, and they treat you as such, because their identity is based on what they have and not who they are. So we've gotten into a day where materials are important, your money is important, how you look is definitely important. And here's the one thing that's missing. I very seldom ever hear anybody say this, and I watch videos on this stuff all the time. How are you being treated? Because if I don't like you, my actions are gonna display that or dictate that. If I like you a little bit, there's a whole lot of there's a whole lot of me you're not going to get if I only like you a little bit. If I only like you enough to keep you around to fulfill a particular need. And it doesn't just, I'm not even talking about sex or, physical. It could be, a whole list of different things, just to, occupy whatever space it is. If you don't actually genuinely like the person for who they are, it's gonna show up. And what you don't want to happen is long term, you don't want to have an ongoing relationship with that person, and then they finally come up and tell you, come up for air and tell you the truth. Well, I really don't feel towards you the way you feel towards me. Nobody wins with that. Which goes all the way back to communication. Be honest with the person. You got to ask yourself, simple questions, but meaningful questions. Do I like the person? Do I like how they treat me? Let's start with that one. Do I like how they treat? Do I like how they talk to me? Do I like how they address me? Do I like how I feel when I'm around them? Because people give off vibes. It's a whole bunch of different terms people use now. Vibes, energy, that's a big one now. Whatever. But it's how you feel, what that person gives off when they're around you. Are you comfortable with that? So these are, some basic things that you need to ask yourself, and when it comes to, do you actually like the person? So, just wanted to share that with you. That one, this was kind of a impromptu, but it's been, I didn't plan on doing it today, but it's been on me for a minute. But that's a big one. That is a big one, because when you, God forbid, if you're with a person, and Lord help you if you're married and you don't like who you're married to, that's a long day every day. It's a very long day every day, and it doesn't end well. Whether you stay in it or get out of it, it doesn't end well either way. So consider those things on the front end. And if you're already in, figure out how to fix it. And I say all the time, if you need to get a counselor, go talk to somebody and talk through these issues, by all means do so. Don't be prideful. And especially, and I'm guilty of it for years. Well, I'm a man. I ain't talking to nobody I don't know. It's best decision I ever made. One of the best decisions I ever made in my life. So I strongly encourage it if you're at that point. So again, I'm Price McKinney, Simply Put. I want to thank you as always. Follow me on Instagram, Price McKinney, Simply Put. Facebook, Simply Put with Price McKinney. And most importantly, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, of course you know what it is. Price McKinney, Simply Put. By all means, do so. And again, I want to thank each and every one of you. I'm not an expert. I just know what I know, and I promise you I'll see you soon.